our last presenter of the day. It is you. You are closing it out. Dr. Gaskins of the Gaskins Foundations and Stimulates, and we are going to be discussing innovative thinking, thinking outside the box.
I'm wobbling up, but I promise it'll be good.
Do you want help? You okay?
I'm okay. I can make it.
All right.
Well, hello everyone. I am the last speaker today, which means you gotta stay until I'm done. I'm just kidding. I won't take that long. I am excited to talk to you guys today because we talk about being out of the box all of the time, but we don't actually talk about what that means, what it looks like, and how that actually can feel. So again, my name is Whitney Gaskins. I work at the University of Cincinnati. I have the honor and privilege to serve as an assistant dean, a faculty member, but I also run a nonprofit in the city. So I founded the Gaskins Foundation, which has a program called Stimulates. And with me is my husband, who's actually the executive director.
Hi everyone, my name is Delano White.
And that's all you're gonna do. Okay, and that's Delano White. And he is our executive director, and we run our K through 12 STEM program together. So it's important for us to come up here. I'm gonna change this so you guys don't think this is what I'm talking about. I have no slides. It's me, you get to look at me.
Hold on.
And
Don't even worry about it.
I was like, get that, a beautiful picture, growing baby girl. This is, oh great, and then it's like this model shot. That's awesome.
That's how I see you. I see you like that right now.
You see me like that right now. I love it. Okay, so we get to run a K through 12 program. We talk about innovative thinking. We talk about thinking outside of the box. But the thing about thinking outside of the box is it takes courage. No one talks about that part. And so I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things, give you some key takeaways, and also give you some real life examples of why this is important to me. So I already told you we don't talk about it in a way of how it actually happens, and it takes courage because it's actually controversial. When I think about thinking outside of the box, the very first thing I think of is the man that got ran out of the healthcare field because he actually told everyone that you should wash your hands to prevent disease. Did you guys know that? Blows my mind. Some of us, right? So back before we had sterile environments, we would conduct medical procedures in rooms, one person right after another. We didn't clean the utensils. We didn't wash our hands. We were just trying to save people. No one knew, but why aren't people getting better? Why are they getting infections? Why are they dying? What's going on? And this man, I can't remember his name, which is so horrible because he deserves his flowers because he was right. He was like, you guys, we need to sterilize and we need to wash and we need to make sure that we change the way we do surgery and medicine. And people laughed at him. He literally lost everything. He lost his practice, his license, his career because they thought he was crazy because they were like, there's no way hand washing or washing utensils would save lives. Thank you very much. Yes. That was outside of the box thinking, though. So when we say it, we always are like, oh, we encourage you to think outside of the box. But when people do it, we forget how controversial it actually is. Giving you a modern day example is probably Steve Jobs, right? Like iPhones and Apple products change the face of how we handle technology, whether you like them or not. You know, the Android iPhone conversation, we're not going to get into that, Team Apple all day. But I will tell you that Steve Jobs, it was controversial. Personal laptop computers, having your phone, like your music on your phone, everything he envisioned, people thought he literally needed to be committed because they were thinking, that is ridiculous. But it was outside of the box thinking. So I want to tell you how much courage it actually takes because it requires not just that courage, but it requires persistence. But if anything you can learn from, it also requires a level of communication that we don't ever talk about. Because you can have an amazing idea, thinking outside of the box, but you can also lose your career and be laughed out of healthcare or tech industry if you don't know how to communicate your message. So as much as you work on thinking outside of the box and technology, you should also be thinking about how you communicate your message to the masses. The other reason why this is really important to me too is that thinking outside of the box is one of the best ways to foster inclusivity. I can't ever leave a presentation without always championing the fact that we need to be more inclusive in the way that we think, how we bring people on teams, and how we innovate for the world. I was thinking about how we forget about the empathy needed to bring innovation to a space. Because if you are requiring people to use your device and your technology, you need to understand what the people you're designing for actually want. There was a company that's still around. Again, pregnancy brain is real, okay? The blood is not flowing here, it's flowing here. But they were making, you guys remember those like roundabout playground equipment you would spin around? They were really dangerous, but we like them, right? You like spin around. So they were going into places to bring water wells because access to clean water is necessary. So they had the idea that, well, instead of bringing in a water pump where we would actually have to pump the water out, we'll just replace it with the playground equipment. So when the kids play on the roundabout, it will bring the clean water to the surface, and then the community will have clean water and the kids would have a new playground. Why didn't that work? You're like, it's a great idea. Wonderful innovation. Why didn't it work? You said it what? Because somebody said it didn't work. No, they implemented it. It was actually installed. The kids didn't play on it enough, step one. They didn't ask the community if they wanted it. And they didn't train anybody in the community for maintenance. So what happens when it breaks down? First, you didn't tell the community that you were coming, so you came with this wonderful, innovative idea. Everybody in the room was like, that sounds perfect. You didn't ask the community if they wanted it. You didn't come up with a sustainability plan that involves the community that's going to use it to make sure it works. That's why thinking outside of the box isn't just about your innovative idea. It's about the inclusivity that's necessary to bring that innovative idea to your people, to the community that you're trying to serve. So you have to have empathy and voice in the collective impact of the group that you're trying to serve. I want to give you a real life example of how this works, because you might be thinking, well, this is impossible, or it's really hard. It is, and it takes time, but we have this program called EPIC, so I'll let Delano talk about EPIC.
So EPIC Stimulation is one of our programs, and EPIC is the acronym EPICC, and it's empowering parents in community churches. And so when you look at STEM and how we teach STEM, minority groups, African Americans, Hispanic groups are generally the lowest representation. And so we wanted to figure out a way where we could take programming and meet the families where they are, and understand that a lot of the research shows that it's not just about teaching the students, it's about bringing the parents up to understand. And so we started a program, the EPIC Stimulation Program, and we started as a program to do STEM programming in churches, in community churches and black churches. And people said, well, that won't work. So there's no way you can do STEM in the church and find a way to make that work. And for us, we said, well, you don't understand how the church works then in our community. So the church traditionally served, at least in the African American community, it was a place where families came together. It was a place where you could go throughout the week and go after school. And it was a place where you had your community meetings. And so not necessarily in a sanctuary, but in a fellowship hall. And so we understand that there are hundreds of churches throughout the city. And so that not only gives us hundreds of churches where we could get spiritual reckoning, we can also get a place where we can use a fellowship halls to train, and not train the students and train the parents. And again, experts told us that, well, there's no way you can do that. You have a program at the University of Cincinnati, it's going well, students are coming to your program. And our question was, we're not going to stop serving the students that come to us, but what about those students who don't know about us or can't come to us? Let's begin to come to them. And so we founded this program, and we wrote some great proposals to the National Science Foundation, and you would hear the feedback is that they didn't understand it or it didn't make sense to them.
Remember, thinking outside the box is
because it's not the standard of how we teach. It's either supposed to be teaching in the school, or students can come to the campus and learn, but you don't teach STEM and other concepts in spaces like a church. And so we finally kept working on our project, and we were managing our program in a couple churches without any kind of partnerships. And finally, the Simons Foundation out of New York, which is always looking for innovative thinking, heard about our project. Our project was referred to them, so they came and they gave us a pilot grant to do it the first year, which was last year. And now they want to continue the program, so they're giving us a 3-year pilot. And they're not a pilot, a 3-year programming grant. And so they actually want to see us take the program and expand it nationally, and they want to support us in having this because they do understand that when we're teaching STEM, there's this opportunity throughout the country. And so that's where our innovative thinking, when no one else saw the vision, sometimes you have to be the one to bring it to them. You have to be the one to say, okay, I have a vision. I understand the space we're trying to go into. And so that's why we're excited. Like I said, if we were in church, I would say this is our testimony. But we tell this story because there's so many people who have ideas, and there's so many people, as someone said, a lot of times the people that aren't doing it don't know. They tell you you can't do it, they are doing it. So it's important who you listen to, and it's important not to let naysayers deter you from the things you want to do, even if it is innovative and they haven't seen it before.
Yeah, and that was 6 years. So people ask that all the time, like, oh, how long did it take for you to get a funder? 6 years. That's how long we have written to multiple foundations, written proposals, workshopped the project, and got rejected and told we were crazy and silly and it wouldn't work. And here we are. We finally got a funder. So, yay. So I know, right? We're supposed to be quick. I'm not I'm a professor. Yeah, quick speaker. Yeah. Okay, I have 4 takeaways that I just want to share with you because these are things that helped us as we were giving you the real life example, but even outside of that in the world, what we follow. The power of asking why is important. So when I think about why we started EPIC, it wasn't because there weren't dozens of outreach programs in STEM. There still are. You could probably name 20 right now on the top of your head that are doing STEM enrichment. The issue was, for us, we talk about social determinants of health. Those same social determinants of health are the same things that are impacting education. So why are we doing after school? Why are we doing Saturday? Why are we doing it like this? So the power of asking why can unlock an idea that can really change the way we do things and operate, and that's huge. So if you've ever given yourself the freedom to think, which is another takeaway, just sit and ask yourself, why are we doing some of the things that we're doing? What am I hoping to get out of it? And I tell you that to dream without restraint, right? I love that Warren Buffett tells people he doesn't take meetings because he's like, I need time to think. I can't make a next move if I'm always in a meeting. Give yourself the space to dream without restraint. It's also probably why I'm a nerd, because I love sci-fi. And I'm like, sci-fi is a precursor to science fact. I really do believe that, right? We didn't have cell phones until Star Trek had cell phones, and now we can't live without them. I can't live without mine. So thinking about that is that somebody dreamt this script, this device, this storyline, this innovation, and put it in a TV show for the masses to see. And the next thing you know, somebody else was like, I love what they dreamt. I'm going to make it happen. Give yourself the same freedom to dream without restraint. And the other one is, don't be afraid to explore the what ifs, or ask yourself the question, how might we? Because the what ifs are actually what the key to the innovation. That's it. What if we did do this differently? What if we did change how we did education? Those questions are the important questions that we're scared to ask because we put constraints on our own thinking because we think that we have to live inside of a box that honestly doesn't actually exist. So those are my key takeaways for innovation and thinking outside of the box, but don't be shocked. Again, takes courage. It's controversial. Work on your communication because it will happen for you one day, and keep asking the tough questions. Thank you.